I think. Yeah, okay, we're good. So what quick buy does is it's first of all, it allows you to what we're gonna see right here is when you die, your gold's gonna drop a lot. So you have the 65 death cost. But if you bought out, you wouldn't have lost all of this gold. And how it works, I'm pretty sure how it works. I need to look it up to be sure though. When you buy items, it buys from your see the reliable gold, unreliable, and then the death cost.
Yeah.
I think when you buy items, it buys from the unreliable gold first, and the reliable gold is gold that so your death cost can only eat into your unreliable gold. So if right now you spent 69 gold, it would have set your unreliable gold to 0, and then you would have 0 death cost.
Okay. Yeah.
So what quick buy does is if you have the hotkey for it, you can just spam that out, and then right now you would spend that gold on like the mango for your stick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then when you die, you would die losing 70 less gold. So it does that, and then it also saves you time for so let's say they were you had a little bit more gold and they ran you down over here, like you're hiding out in these trees or whatever, and then you see they're coming for you, and then you run up and then they go on you like here, but you have wand in your quick buy. You can quickly buy the wand through your quick buy, and then they cast like 4 spells on you. You use your wand and you survive with 60 health or like 30 health. So right there, quick buy would save your life. Which would, it's a very specific thing, and it only happen once out of every 100 games where it saves you.
Yeah.
But it's more about like let's say the lane's going well, and you can go over here, buy your boots, and not miss a last hit because you have the quick buy. Instead of opening this, fumbling with it, like, alright, I have to switch to basic, where are the boots are there. That takes 3-4 seconds if you're quick with it. And that can be a missed last hit or 2. Or you don't buy your boots while they're going on you, so they catch up to you and you die or whatever. And then the main reason that, or the reason that I think is the most important is, if you set up, so you know the minute and a half before the game starts where you're like waiting for the bounty runes? If you use that time to set up your quick buy, it makes you think of what's the lane going to be like and what do I need to do to react to it. So if you're sitting here and you're like, alright, well, I think they have a weird lineup, and the only mid they have is like a Magnus, and then you like predict that the Enchantress is off lane for whatever reason, and you're like, alright, well they have a Pudge and a Tusk and a Kunkka, so what I want to do is be able to run away before they catch me or something. So you value your boots more than anything else, because you think, alright, well if they get on top of me, I'm dead no matter what, but if I get boots, they're less likely to be on top of me. And you can think proactively like that, and then like they have a weird lineup, so it's kind of like, this isn't a great example, but if you make the prediction and then the prediction's wrong, then you can be like, okay, I made this, I thought this because of whatever reason, and it's wrong. Why was it wrong? And then you can grow from there. Whereas, it, like, you can learn about, why was this hero here instead of there? And it can just be because it's a stupid lineup or whatever, but it can also be, like, something you didn't think about, and then you can learn from it and grow from it. Or, you can think about what would be a great item to get, and then you get it, and it doesn't actually do anything, and then you can think about why it didn't do anything, as opposed to, if you don't use your quick buy, you're just going to be like, alright, well, this item's recommended, so I'm going to get this one first, and then that's recommended, and then you never take your build and your lane into your own hands, so you never improve in that way. Does all of that make sense?
Yeah, completely, yeah.
It's cool. Um, oh, nice. You're just muting everyone. Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's what I try to do. I mean, I don't do toxic, so I usually just mute them. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's not a bad strategy. And I've definitely done it sometimes. Like, if people are complaining and they're not saying anything helpful, they're probably going to continue to complain and not say anything helpful. So
exactly.
There's no reason to. But if they're not being super toxic, I don't mute them because sometimes they can be like, "Oh, Pudge got a haste."
Yeah.
So you got to balance it, but. I do like you going for the bounty rune there. You didn't miss anything. And see how, because the lane's up here, like even if Pudge and Tusk were here, they couldn't do anything to you. And that goes back to the point of cogging the creeps at the first minute, or when you TP in. If you did that, you wouldn't have died, and the laning would have been a little bit better.
Yeah. So would you only cog the creeps, you know, in the first minute, or would you do it like multiple times during the laning phase? Or?
Actually, we can go back to that. One sec. We can go through my latest Clockwerk game, and I can point out,
okay,
like, more precise examples, because that was one of the games where I did it a decent amount. And this is going back to the quick buy thing. If you thought about your lane with the Pudge, Tusk, and the Kunkka, they're not going to harass you out with right clicks, right? They're just going to straight up kill you or cast their spells on you or whatever. So if you think about that, Stout Shield isn't that great, right?
Yeah.
Like, Stout Shield would have been really good against the Enchantress, but it's not great against anyone else, really. So, with that in mind, I would have probably got a, the Salve is good because they're either going to kill you or they're going to get you really low, so Salve will get you back up. But getting your Wand would have been really nice because the health regen, or you could have rushed your boots quicker. And I think either Wand or boots would do a lot more for you in this lane than Stout Shield. And this is something that you're not going to think about unless you start doing your quick buy thing. And here, I like that you did this cogs, but the reason that I like it is because it allows you to get 2 denies on these range creeps, but you just walk away after. Like, you can deny both of these, and that's like 120 gold for him, and you get 50% of the experience of a whole range creep from that, and you deny 150% of a range creep from him. So that's huge, and that's just understanding the value of denies. The creeps are worth a good bit now. Like, melees are around like 50, and range are around 60. And then how denies work now is you get 25% of the experience of the creep, and they get 25% of the experience of the creep. So the way that I like to explain it is, let's say for whatever reason you're free farming all of this, the whole lane you're free farming, and this guy has to like sit back and leech experience for whatever reason. If you're getting all the last hits and all the denies, you're getting 5 times the experience he's getting, because you're getting 125% of the experience and he's only getting 25% of the experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So denying is just huge in this patch. So whenever you can deny, try and do it. And this is like, if you had your quick buy, you would have bought your wand by now. And that's like, you probably would have had like 45 more mana right now.
So a potential kill.
Yeah, like, that's a feels And right now I'd be looking to Shrine. Shrines come up every 5 minutes. And also something else is you can buy, if you want to get a bottle, you can buy it from this guy now for full charges.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So yeah, that just mean you get your bottle sooner. But I still think it would have been better to get the Shrine. And I like to compare bottle with urn, kind of. Because you're a hero that doesn't spam out your spells a lot. The only thing you spam is your rocket flare, right? Like, you don't farm too much with these. And you have a decent enough mana regen that with urn you can spam your flare out. And you might, like, sometimes I'll fly out clarities also because they're just really good right now. Because they're 3.2 mana regen amplified by your percent. So right now you'd be getting around 5 mana regen per second from a clarity, and that's only going to go up throughout the game. But if you look at Urn of Shadows, it gives you how do I want to explain this? It kind of does the same thing as a bottle, essentially. Where bottle gives you a ton of health and or not a ton. Bottle gives you health and mana regen. And urn, you get a kill and you get health regen. And if you just passively sit around, you have mana regen. But would you agree that urn's just a lot better for a fight than bottle is?
For sure, yeah.
Because it's only 200 more gold. Around 200 more gold. And then the nice thing about urn is it scales a lot more. And it turns you into a hero. One of the things I really like about urn in pub games, because I play position 4, I usually don't play heroes that push towers. But with Urn of Shadows, I can be a pseudo pusher in that, let's say we take a fight and your DP or your Juggernaut gets super low and this guy used health ward in the fight and I got killed. You'll probably have 2 or 3 urn charges, and that's 800 or 1200 health regen that you can use on your cores. And if your Juggernaut's at 10%, he can stay just because you have an urn. And in that sense, you just having the urn means that he can push the tower, meaning that all of the net worth and all of the experience that Jug has is essentially from you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You take a huge fight and this guy's gonna back if you don't have urn, but if you have urn, he's gonna stay and he's gonna push. So it's just kind of like, I fucking love this item. Urn is so good right now if you can get it. And I also, you eventually go Tranquils, or not Tranquils, you go Treads, which I don't really like too much. If you're not going Tranquils on Clockwerk, which I really like, because you, after you get your levels and your experience, you're not really doing too much except for looking for fights, right? So in that sense, Tranquils allows you to run around to fights quicker, and it allows you to be topped off when you take the fights. And the way that I look at all of the boots is they're like, I don't look at Treads as 1300 gold. I look at it as 950, because you're getting boots in every single game no matter what. So Treads is 950 gold, whereas Tranquils is around 500 gold. It's 550. So it's about half the cost of Treads. And it means that most fights you're going to be topped off. And then also when you're in the middle of a fight, it provides the extra 20 movement speed, because it's 65 movement speed when it's broken. So it's just cheaper. It helps you a lot more in the early game, and then in the late game you don't care too much about the 10 strength, so you value the movement speed more. And the regen, if you get an urn, it allows you to use your urn more for your team and more offensively when you sit back on your Tranquils and heal up that way. Because, like, if you take a huge fight and they're all dead for 40 seconds, you can just earn your team, and if you're at 20%, you can just sit on your tranquils and not attack anything, because you don't really do any tower damage, and the best that you push is with Rocket Flare.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Also, so here I want to point out, so which one of these heroes can save the other the best?
Tusk, probably, I guess.
I'm thinking Pudge.
Okay.
And then, so the thing that I want to point out is if you go on Pudge, there's no way he gets saved. But if you go on Tusk, he can snowball out or get hooked out.
Yeah, okay.
So you're going on the hero that has 2 options of being saved. Whereas if the Tusk wants to save the Pudge, he has to run over to him and then snowball onto you. So it's kind of like not doing anything. But if you go on the Tusk, he can snowball out of the cogs onto one of your teammates and then get hooked or something like that.
Yeah.
So this is just like understanding priorities. And then I got you. You again died without buying out, so that's another however much gold.
Yeah.
At this point, I want to push out this wave, and then I want to go look for a kill.
Okay, yeah.
Because you're Clockwerk and you have your hook shot. I think, hopefully that's what you do. Go mid, please. I guess this is fine. Yeah, this is good. But like right now, if you had Tranquils, you'd be able to stay.
Yeah.
It's good that at the very least you're looking for kills. And with this, you kind of go on her way too soon.
Okay.
Like you could have walked up to her, because she doesn't know you're here. So why not just like run at her and then use battery assault and cogs instead of this, and then save this, because you're losing the gap closing part of it. Because she has to run to you anyways, and you can just battery assault and run at her.
I don't need the initiation.
Yeah. So you're getting the stun and you're getting the damage, but you're losing the initiation with it.
Yeah.
And then this is just kind of like understanding that your job is not to right click her, it's just a battery assault her. Because that does more damage than your right click. Your right click is also slowed by this. And then if you don't stay on her with battery assault, then your Juggernaut's not going to be able to stay on her with spin. And the way that you kill her is magic damage.
So like body blocking with battery assault would be better?
Well, even just running at her with it, I'm pretty sure you stay on top of her. But yeah, if you could body block, that would be best.
Okay, yeah.
But you see how she's just gone now. And that's a combination of the not staying on her with the battery assault and not having the hook shot.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, that sucks. I would have kept running at him here. Because your DP was coming. I think he used his his skewer too. I'm not sure though. It made I could hear it for whatever reason. Well, that's weird. Alright, so you didn't know that he used skewer? I don't think. But it's kind of like your full health, your full mana. Their supports are going to take a little bit to get there. And you have your Venge and your DP here. So if a fight breaks out, you guys are going to win for sure.
Okay.
And it's kind of like this is exactly what you're looking for. You're looking to take fights. And like if you guys win that fight, you take their mid tower. But if you die in a stupid position, they don't take yours. Do you have any questions so far?
No, it's all good. Yeah, I'm just absorbing all your knowledge.
Yep. This was good. You stayed in the... You wanted to stay on top of them for sure. So I liked that. But yeah, again, you're quick buy, you're losing more gold. You've probably lost around 300 or 400 gold from not having your quick buy. And then it's like, maybe having that 300 or 400 gold means you live there until the Magnus dies, so you get experience and more gold. And then you could have bought something more.
Yeah, it all wraps up.
Feels bad. So far, I think you've died twice by not checking items. You died once trying to 1v1 the Kunkka without knowing that he had an armlet, and then you died once from her hurricane piking. And on this guy, I usually like, I like to get Force Staff first instead of Blade Mail. Because, like, Force Staff just allows you to go into positions that you can't go into without it. So, a lot of times you'll be able to hookshot somebody, stun them, cogs them, and then force back into your team, and then your team can catch up and use that. Whereas, if you just have Blade Mail, you die. They take some damage, but you're dead. And also you can sometimes like save your team. If your team cogs in with you and they're running away, you can force staff them. Or if you're let's say you're like this ogre, or you're right here. This ogre's dead. They're chasing you. You can cogs and then hurricane or force staff out of your cogs as opposed to attacking it. And using your attack animation and kind of like screwing yourself there, and then Pudge hooks you or whatever. And then, especially with your build, the health regen would have been nice. I don't mind your build. I usually do this too, where I get the flare. But when I get the flare instead of the armor, I usually farm a lot with it. Because the cooldown goes down 2 seconds, and it's kind of like 2 level 4 nukes is enough to get a lot of farm out of a lane, but 2 level 3 nukes isn't. Because it's 80 less damage, and it's 2 seconds further apart.
Yeah.
And here, something that I'll... Actually, how long have we been? We got around 20 minutes left, so I think I'm gonna switch to one of my replays.
Yeah, sounds good.
And we can talk about things that I do. So this one, I played it as a position 4.
Yeah.
And the early game went bad, so it'll also show you what to do then. And there's a little cheeky thing where if you start with cogs and SF, you can have the SF deny your cogs to get souls. So you'll see that at the start of the game.
Okay, yeah, that sounds pretty good. Yeah.
We didn't do it that great, and he could have got like 5 more souls or 7 more souls or whatever, but it's still... so we're gonna forward some. So yeah, he just has 20 extra damage. And the consideration for doing that is I can't do anything to a Quap, and I can't do anything to the bottom lane. I might be able to do something to the Enchantress, but not really. Because I don't know how to put it. I just don't really have enough to do anything to her until a few more levels. Like, I need cogs and battery assault, and I need her to not be like level 5 or whatever. So with all that considered, I can't go bottom and get kills. I can't go mid and get kills because she can like blink out if she's smart. And then I can't really do anything top either. So what I can do is start with cogs, give the SF souls, and then you watch here. The LC died, so I blocked her lane for her, and then I cogs this. And I let the range creep go first, because what that's going to do is he's going to die off immediately, and then the lane's going to push to us even more. So I kind of just saved her lane. And then if we look at what happens with the equilibrium, in the next, we can just skip forward some. It ends up, unless she fucked it up, it's supposed to end up pushing into our tower a lot. And then I'm like, alright, I can't do anything here because they have a really kill lineup and I can't really like save her because they're gonna stun lift and all this shit. So I just go mid, trying to help out a little bit. I block this and I reset it on his hill. So this is kind of like, this is when you want to be doing cogs, when like you want to pull the lane back a little bit, and you're not going to be like missing anything like last hits or experience range or bounty runes or anything like that. It's just kind of like, if you don't have anything better to do, you want to be doing that. And then here, this is, I have all my shit quick buyed, and I have it stacked, so I have Urn, I only have Spirit Vessel queued up right now. I think I later queue up Tranquils too. But yeah, this is a very like rough early game, where I don't really have too much potential. But the early raindrop, it makes you very tanky because 120 magic damage is a lot early, and you'll probably like take 2 charges in a fight. And then the the 0.5 mana regen's also like enough to get by. So I'm sitting at like 1.9 instead of like 1.3.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions so far?
No, it's all good.
And then this is an example of I used my quick buy and I bought out the circlet, so I didn't lose any gold. Whereas if I didn't buy it out, I would have lost 77 gold, and I wouldn't be able to have a TP and a circlet.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna skip forward some because this is all just minor stuff. Again, I can't do anything in lane, so I'm just cogging stuff. That was just me being silly.
Yeah. Actually, I want to ask you about like you know, pull timings, and when do you want to pull, like in the step lane, and like stack timings and stuff. You know,
so I don't like giving exact times because it's kind of like they're gonna change it so often that like in 2 months they might change the box or some shit like that. And
yeah.
So what I usually like to do is just like try and get a feel for the movement speed of the creeps.
Okay.
And then go from there. So usually these guys are like 53 to 55 that you can pull them. And you can only stack them. You can get your first stack at 2 minutes with any camp because they don't spawn until 1 minute now. They used to spawn at 30 seconds, so you could stack at 1.
Yeah.
But with polling, it's usually like there's a bunch of things to consider. One of them is if your carry has to last hit under the tower, how does he feel about that? So this Juggernaut has a stout shield and a quelling blade. So he has the damage and the damage mitigation to not care about it. Whereas like a Drow Ranger or a Medusa might care a lot more because they have lower damage and they're slower and they don't have a stout shield. So that's one thing to consider. But then the opposite of that is, what if you're laning against a Nature's Prophet and you can't do anything about it, and he's just right-clicking the shit out of your carry? I would be rather getting hit by creeps under my tower than getting hit by a Nature's Prophet the whole time I'm last hitting. And then you also have to consider where is the creep wave meeting, and is it what you want it to be at? So like if it's here and it's like stagnant here, that's a really good time to pull. But if it's like here, that's a lot less of a good time to pull. Because that just deletes a creep wave, so this makes this push. And then from there, it's kind of like, can the offlaner contest me? And do I care if he contests me? Like with the Nature's Prophet thing, he could contest my pull, but he's probably gonna like screw up my carry a lot if I don't do that. And I'd rather have him contesting the pull than killing my carry. So that's another thing to consider. And then it's kind of like, if you can fully get away with it, it'll deny the enemy offlane experience and gold, and then it'll allow you to farm the creeps and get your own experience and all of that. But polling right now is a lot less beneficial than it was last patch. Like, I used to be able to teach students in like an hour session how to poll in the first 10 minutes, and they'd go up like 300 MMR or whatever, 500 MMR. It was just like ridiculous because you could poll non-stop for the first 7 minutes, and you'd be level 6, your carry would be level 6, and the offlaner would be level 4, and you just win the game because of it. But they nerfed polling a lot, so it's not as beneficial.
Okay, so you can do it, but it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like game breaking anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
But here I have my urn and my jug's low, so I want to get a kill on this enchantress so I can heal him up. Which sucks because he dies, but you see how like urns fulfilling all my mana regen and all my health regen needs?
Yeah.
Like right now I'd have like 1.3 or 4 mana regen without urn. And because I went Tranquil's Windlace, Tranquil's urn, and I can get the Windlace, I'm at 425 movement speed, and I think you were at like 360-ish. So
yeah.
I have like 65 movement speed on you.
Yeah, big difference. Yeah.
Also, one thing with urn is if you kill somebody with 0 charges, you get 2 charges. But if you kill somebody with over 0 charges, you only get 1. So, oftentimes I'll use one of my urns like defensively, and then I'll hold on to the next one to use it offensively to try and guarantee that I get the kill with 0 charges, so I get 2 charges back.
Yeah.
And then here it's just like, I know that I'm low on mana. What was it? I'm low on mana and I have an item that I want, so I just fly out a clarity, and then like I'm good. And then I'm scouting with Rocket Flare. Rocket Flare is too low of a level for me to realistically farm with it, so I'm using it more of a scout tool. And then I bought out and saved myself some more gold there. Yeah. I've probably saved like 300 to 400 gold by buying out now.
Yeah.
And this is a nifty little thing. You can rocket flare here, and it's the only spot that'll hit 2 camps.
Okay, yeah.
It's usually not that great, because it's usually like, in a lot of situations, like, I could be a bot right here, and nobody would be top, and I'd rather be rocket flaring the empty creep wave, pushing this out to their tower so that they eventually have to deal with it, and getting last hits on these. So it's a lot more impact, it's a lot more gold, and then the enemy team has to deal with it. As opposed to if I just shoot this, I'm just getting gold.
Yeah.
But if you see, I'm just spamming out my flare. Because what this does is, like, it's a very underestimated part of Clockwerk, but, like, if we're doing 5 vs 5 bottom, and it's, like, a stalemate, and I'm just flaring top, we're gonna eventually take this tower. And I'm gonna be getting farm from this lane. So it's just, like, a huge impact to be able to push lanes anywhere on the map. See, like, the Night Stalker wouldn't have to be up there if I wasn't flaring that, and our tower would take more damage if I flared it.
Yeah.
And then I use my urn on my Shadow Fiend because I'm kind of like spent here. Like I don't have too much mana and I used my main spells. So I'd rather have him have like whatever more health. And then I'm at 0 health, so I earn myself finally. Do you have any questions?
No, it's all good.
Great. I think this game's pretty much over.
Yeah.
Was there another replay of yours that you wanted to go over?
You know what? I haven't really thought of any replays.
We can just go over. Let's go over
Take the
this
bounty
one.
hunter game.
I like to go over losses because you're usually punished harder.
Alright, sure. Yeah.
So, the Bane or the Shadow Demon one, which one would you prefer?
Bane is good. Yeah.
Right. We can go over this one quick. Why'd you go for the disc?
You know, I think I was getting focused pretty hard, and it saved me sometimes.
I gotcha.
I can't remember if it did, but yeah.
Yeah, you have a pretty slippery lineup with your Puck and your Windrunner, and your Jug's magic immune, so they're most likely to go on you. I don't like that you started with the wand.
Okay. Yeah.
I would have rather seen you go like boots, because your hero has a lot of damage and a lot of health, and a lot of armor, so you can trade really hard with people if you have that extra 40 movement speed. And they like, it's kind of like you're not going to take sustained damage from them. So the 1.5 regen isn't going to be as impactful as it would have been in your clock game.
Yeah.
Like the amount of time that you're going to be full health is going to be a lot higher in this game.
Yeah. Okay.
And right here, I'd be like walking over here so I can, like, you shit on this guy. You have the extra 4 armor, and then if he doesn't have Luna's blessing, you have like 20 more damage than him.
Okay.
And I'm kind of against leveling your Enfeeble at level 1. Like, it's good for like making her miss last hits, but you could also just trade aggressively with Brain Sap. And then the thing with Enfeeble is like, this is the only time that it's gonna really do anything, right? Like, it's not gonna do anything past 5 minutes until you have it maxed. So it's kind of like a dead point. Whereas if you max your Brain Sap first, and have a few points in this, that's like much better to have at level 7.
Okay.
Like the second point in this reduces the cooldown 3 seconds, gives 75 more range, and it's usually that 1 second between. It's usually the 1 or 2 seconds from your level 2 or your 3 that's enough for you to set up something good, usually. And then I like that you get the bounty runes. But it's kind of like... see how you'd just be fine without a wand? But your boots would allow you to, like, trade and everything a lot harder. And then you could, like... You could have got a stick from the side shop, and it would have been just as good as your wand.
Yeah.
And here, why'd you... You would have been fine if you just ran down.
Yeah, okay.
And I don't really know what else to say about that, but like, I don't know how to teach how that was fine.
I mean, yeah. I think I wanted to use the sanctuary, but yeah.
It starts at 5 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
And then here's a little thing to point out. So you saw the CM over here. And when you have vision of, like, the only other person that's gonna be here is the Lich. And you're not worried about a Lich alone. So you want to would you agree that it's a lot more likely that this rune is taken in this situation at the 4-minute mark than this one is?
Yeah.
So if you position aggressively, you're gonna almost guarantee that you get this, and then you're for sure gonna get this anyways. Whereas if you go for this one first, a Lich can be like... You could have like a Divine Rapier and Moon Shards and all this shit, and it doesn't matter how much stronger than you are, the Lich. If you're not there, he can just take it and walk away.
Yeah.
But if you're there, he can't take it, and then you can just get this one also.
Yeah.
But if you didn't know that the CM was there also, it would have made a lot more sense to not go for that rune. Also, I really like Soul Ring on this guy.
Yeah, it makes sense with the brain stuff.
Yeah, it's just like sometimes you'll want this strictly for the nuke, and all of your spells cost so much mana, that it's like you want mana boots and Soul Ring kind of, and then when you upgrade this, the active from this is really good because you don't have the active from this anymore. And you get it sooner, and it also gives you 120 health early, which is huge. And then the little bit of regen's nice. And then it also, I'd have to do the math on it, but it gives you almost 3 times the mana per minute. Because you can get 150 mana, about 2 2/5 times a minute. Whereas this, you can get around 150 mana per minute. And like right now, you'd have enough gold for it, I think. How much is it?
Yeah, almost.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's like you're out of mana now. What are you gonna do when you get your mana boots? Never mind. Lol, JK. And I don't like that you got the second point in this instead of maxing this, because this is just so good. Like the amount that it gets better is a lot more than the amount that this gets better. I like the 2 points in it, but it's just when you do have the point in Enfeeble and the point in this, like you want this maxed by level 7 because you're so much stronger with that. Because you go into a trade and you can do a 600 net swing just by casting this one spell, because you do 300 of them and you heal yourself for 300. And that's at like 10 minutes in the game. And this is... you did this backwards. Because you're using your ult to kill the target, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you're using this to stall them while you kill the other target. But
Yeah.
wouldn't you much rather just kill the target that actually matters? Like, if you kill her, all you're gonna get is the golden experience. But if you kill the Luna, you get more gold and more experience, and you slow down her timings by 2 minutes, which is very impactful, as opposed to the CM's gonna get her 4 staff like a minute later, which doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then because you don't kill the Luna, she ends up killing you guys. Okay, well, we're gonna have to wrap it up soon, so is there any final questions you had?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe some quick watch spots. You know, I'm usually just throwing them down. I feel like in fixed places. But
I think the best thing that I can tell you quickly about wards is you want to put them. So I like to call it like the line of aggression. So think about if all of your tier 2s are down and you're sitting at your tier 3s. But all of their tier 2s are down. But they're strong enough to push you to your lane, to your base. Like they have a Naga Siren or something and it's just constantly pushed. Your line of aggression would be like, you can kind of go a little bit out of your base, but that's about it. So wards that are right behind or right beyond that line is really good. Because if you have this ward and you have this ward, then you're a lot safer to go out. Even though you could be placing these, you're just not going to be there, so it doesn't do anything.
Wouldn't do much.
But if you're on the team with the Naga Siren, you want, you do want your wards to be like at their base, even though your tier 2s are down also, because you guys are the ones pushing. So with that in mind, like right now, good wards would be like something like here or here. It's usually around their towers. So like if this tower was down, then like this one or this one would be a lot better right now. But because that tower's up, you want it like here or here. And then like with this, the second that this is down, you go from wanting a ward here to wanting one here. Because your line of aggression, like this will catch some TP shrines and then it'll catch some of this. So this catches most rotations over here. But if they have this tower, they can just TP here instead and then skip past this whole thing. And then, so aside from the line of aggression, if you can start thinking about in your games, is that clear, the line of aggression?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. So trying to ward just a little bit past that is good. Because if you ward too far before that, like if you ward this and they're not being superly aggressive, this just doesn't see anything and it doesn't do anything. But like, and even if you ward like right here, it can actually provide more defensive information than this one does, because you see them when they're right here. So if you're jungling this, it's kind of like it might be too late. But if you see them like crossing like here or TPing here or whatever, you can be like, all right, well they walked through here and they're running this way, I should probably back up. Or like if you have a ward like here, and you catch a Spirit Breaker charging, it's going to be a lot better than if you see it through here. So that's kind of like, for overall general wards, that's a good thing to think about. And you want to be as aggressive as you can while still holding to that line. So that's going back to they have a Naga Siren. This is as far as you can go. That's going to be useful. And then aside from that, it's just kind of like if you're taking Roshan, you want Rosh wards, which are like these and these, and then like sometimes this one's better than that one. If you're not gonna ward right here, this one's usually better than this one, kind of, because this has more staying usefulness.
Yeah.
Like if you have their shrine and this tower down, like this is just better, and you probably like shouldn't ward this at all. Like this would be an example of if you have their shrine and their tier 2 down. This is an example of a defensive ward is strictly worse than an offensive ward, because if you're placing this ward and this ward, it's gonna see all of the same avenues as this ward and this ward. But this is gonna like be more along your line of aggression, and it's gonna catch it sooner, so you can react better. And then if you're on the other team, like a ward here or there, and then like one there. But yeah. So do you have any more questions about wards? That's kind of like the most condensed version.
Yeah, I think it's good. It makes sense. Yeah.
Right. So I'm gonna stop recording here, and then I'm gonna